Listen, have you ever heard anyone talk about the intro to a 30-plus-year-old kid's show for way too long? Well, you're about to. The Barney and Friends intro is something that is so... The Barney and Friends intro is something that is so ingrained in my heart, to the point where I will literally go on YouTube and look up episodes of the show throughout my day just so that I can hear the opening and then turn it off right when it's finished. I was watching a few episodes earlier today, and the intro, it made me think about a lot of different things, and about like why I was so drawn to it as a kid, why we are also drawn to music as a kid like that, and also like why, like what makes an opening theme, right? Why the visuals and the music matter. And specifically with Barney and Friends, I really wanted to touch on it because I wanted to explain why it means so much to me. So just like a review of the show, like I'm going to go in and analyze every step of it. Now, of course, with Barney and the Backyard Gang, the lyrics are a little bit different, but it's like the same idea. I really only wanted to touch on Barney and Friends just because that's what really made me spur on to make this video. But also because like I want to touch on Backyard Gang stuff later. I've already done too much with the Backyard Gang recently. So I wanted to start things off with season 1 of Barney and Friends, which aired back in 1992. Why don't we go ahead and get right into it? We're treated with a beautiful looking logo, as well as just a really quick, short, simple little animation. The animation is beautiful, and also it's really interesting because it shows how they were depicting Barney as like a cartoonish like design back in 1992. It wasn't as accurate to what you would see on screen, but it was very sort of unique. It was very rough. You can see the tail curves up a lot more in the back, and all in all, it's very just cartoony. I like it a lot, and it makes me a little bit sad to see that it didn't get used like at all after 1993, but I'm glad that they used it here, and it looks really nice. Also with the logo, we see Barney's name in blue, which doesn't normally happen. I like it a lot in blue, and I really wish that they used it a lot more. You normally see it in purple or yellow or sometimes even white. It's also really interesting considering Barney as a character has no blue on him at all. It's usually just purple, green, and there's yellow, and that's really the only colors that we ever see Barney being represented as. Never blue. So I like that Barney's name is blue in the logo. I think in the Barney home video logo it might also be blue. I might be mistaken on that, but all in all, just the logo looks nice, and I like the idea of like them walking along the line and sort of carrying over that same idea that the Backyard Gang logo had, where it was Barney in the center and then the kids on the side, but now Barney's leading them all on this line as we go into the show's intro. A lot of shows will do like the clips and things like that, and they'll make things specifically for the intro, and then they'll show the logo at the end. I like that Barney and Friends gives us a logo up front to show like, this is what we are, this is what we're doing. Let's show you like what we have in store for you as we go into the song. Right after the logo peels away, we're treated to the camera going down, and we see Barney sitting on a tire swing and all the kids coming to school.
Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation.
Barney instantly comes to life, and then after that we're treated to a bunch of different clips from different episodes of the show. There's a lot of different pros and cons when it comes to making things specifically for the intro of a show, and also just using clips from episodes as part of your intro. With Barney and Friends, they were under a very tight time crunch for season 1 specifically. Because of that, they filmed all of the episodes first, or at least a good amount of the episodes first, and then left the intro essentially for the end. This is the reason why the intro to Barney and Friends uses all clips from the episodes of the show, as opposed to those very specific clips that they made for the intro, even though they did make those. Specifically the opening clip where Barney comes to life and the kids are greeting him, as well as the very last end clip with Barney sitting on the tire swing.
Barney's friends are big and small, they come from lots of places. After school they need to play and sing with happy faces.
Part of why I love the composition of Barney and Friends' intros, especially in these early years, is that it, in a way, is telling a story. We open up with Barney coming to life to show that this is the general premise of the show. Barney is a dinosaur that comes from our imagination, so this is what happened at the beginning of their normal school day, or rather, at the end of their school day. It's after school, so the beginning of their after school day. Right? This is the very beginning. We know the premise. This is what's happening. So let's get right into it. Immediately after that, again, we're treated to episode clips from the show. And it's in a way, it's showing us what we can expect from this program. Being that it's season 1, the rhythm isn't matched to the visuals all that well. You can tell that they're still really just trying to get their footing on that.
Barney shows us lots of things like how to play pretend.
But even still, they're matching the visuals to what's actually being sung in the song. I think one of my favorite parts of this intro is the part of the song where they're saying what Barney teaches them, like how like ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. But then when they say and how to be a friend, they show a clip from, I believe it's Queen of Make Believe, the first episode, where Barney is petting Min's cheek and she just smiles. Like, that is a very wholesome clip, and I love the way that that matches with the music.
ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and how to be a friend.
Like I was saying earlier, it tells a story. Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too, as long as you make believe him. The intro ends with a very specific shot, and let me tell you, this shot is very special to me, mainly because I have a very spiritual thing with rainbows. I'm wearing a rainbow ring right here. So rainbows, again, are very spiritual to me because it's a sign of hope. It's a sign of strength, and it's a sign of better days ahead. With Barney and Friends, they made a very specific shot at the end of the intro, which I don't know how you would come up with this, but I love that they did.
Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him.
It's a shot where Barney is reimagined as a doll, sitting on the tire swing, and a rainbow forms above the tire swing, and it ends with him winking at the camera. Something about that is very, very, very special. Crew members of Barney and Friends often refer to very miraculous things happening around the franchise as Barney magic. They'd also refer to the Barney magic as the Barney rainbow. Rainbows are very, very much connected with the Barney brand. And this one shot at the end, again, is very nice. This being the ending shot reinforces that, again, it's telling a story. You know, Barney comes to life. We're shown different things that happen throughout the episode. And then at the end, Barney's a doll again. He was there the entire time. He was a doll the entire time. You just imagine that he was real. He winks at the camera, showing that he is always there, and that he knows that the adventures that you went on throughout the day were all because of your imagination, and he was there for that. That ends the intro, and we go right to the title card of the episode. That is the season 1 intro of Barney and Friends, and I love that after this, they would keep reinforcing this same idea for the things that would come after. That being said, we go right to 1993 with season 2 of Barney and Friends, and we see those same things being carried over. Right off the bat, we can see things are changing a little bit. And if anything else, this is more of an evolution of the first one than anything else. Here, they're very much trying to match the rhythm of the song to the visuals that they're showing. Whereas in the first season, the intro started with the kids and Barney just automatically running on that line. We wait for the drum to start wrapping up, and then we start moving. It's very distinct, and when you pop in a VHS tape and you don't know whether it's a season 1 episode or a season 2 episode, you know immediately which season that this episode is from, just by the very start of that intro. Also, the animation is sped up a little bit. I think that's just to better flow with the sound of the music, but also because since they delayed the animation moving, they have to make it faster just to get them to the end before the title card moves away. Also, did I mention that the baby at the end always pulls a little rubber duck like on time with the music, which I think is very nice. It's very cute. And of course, we're still using that same design for Barney in the logo that we were in season 1. This would be the final time that they would use that. And again, I just miss it a lot because it's very unique. It's very different. And it's in a way, it's like sort of rough, but I love the way that it looks.
Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation.
Like I was saying earlier, they're matching the rhythm to the visuals a lot more fluidly now. Barney comes to life quicker, and it's just after that we immediately get right back into showing clips from the episode itself. Now with season 2, it's very interesting because just like season 1, they filmed a good majority of the episodes and then left the intro for the end. But here, BJ debuts in this season. This is BJ's first time being as part of the Barney franchise, but he's nowhere to be seen in the intro at all. Baby Bop is here, but BJ isn't.
Barney's friends are big and small, they come from lots of places. After school they need to play and sing with happy faces.
In my season 2 review of the show, I mentioned that I felt that BJ was not last minute, but at the very least, he was added very late into production. And this intro helps to reinforce that, I think. It's just very strange to know that a character so integral to the franchise made its debut in a season and then wasn't even featured in the intro of that season at all.
Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him.
Look at how on beat the visuals are with the sound of the song. It's very clear that they made an effort to keep that in line as opposed to how it was in season 1. And overall, it just flows a lot better as an opening. I don't think I mentioned it yet, but the very beginning shot that they filmed specifically for this intro, where Barney comes to life, they refilmed it with the new location and the new set, you know, the new cast and everything. But they also filmed it with the new plush doll that was made for the show. This one has that armature, which means it can move its arms and all that kind of stuff. The thing that the first season 1 doll could not do. They very much showed that off with Barney, you know, raising his arm, hello. But then when he comes to life, his arm is already raised. And I think that it's a very small thing. It's like not anything to point out, but I like that attention to detail is kept. Again, we end the intro with the tire swing shot from before. This time with the same season 1 doll. They didn't refilm it with the new doll. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe there was a time crunch or something. I'm not sure. But I still love that the rainbow is there and then he winks at the camera. It's very wholesome and it means so much to me. So season 2's intro is a very nice, genuine evolution to the season 1 intro that came just a year prior. Again, it shows that they're making improvements to what they had before and they're just building off of that. Season 3 is the biggest jump that we see in just flow and production value. It's also my favorite. Whenever I go to look up the Barney and Friends intro just to fill myself with joy and happiness, it's always season 3. Season 3's intro presents us with a beautifully redone animation. It's no longer just a carried over animation from seasons 1 and 2. It's entirely redone. I think this is cell animation, and I really wish that these cells were available somewhere, or that someone at least has them somewhere, like preserved, because it's a beautiful, iconic intro with very fluid, very fluid animation. Barney's entirely redesigned, and all the kids are the same, but they have this weird sort of dance that they do right before they end the line. As a kid, and even still today, I have no idea what they're doing, but it's on beat with the music, and it's very strange. But the fact that it's on beat makes me forgive it entirely because it's very, again, weird. It looks cool, quote unquote. The baby doesn't do it because he, of course, has to tend to the rubber duck that needs to be pulled. I think he actually waits a lot longer just because they're doing that weird dance before it.
Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation.
Here's where I want to highlight the music itself. This intro was done by Bob Singleton. It was arranged by Bob Singleton, who, as you may know, was the music director for Barney and Friends from Barney in the Backyard Gang's second half, like Waiting for Santa, Campfire Sing-Along, and Barney Goes to School, as well as those other tapes that came after that. And he was the musical director for seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Barney and Friends. Bob Singleton's style when it comes to Barney is very specific. If you know any Barney themes from the early 90s, you know that there was a very specific instrument that would be used in Singleton's arrangements. It was like a flute. Is it a flute or a piccolo? It's one of those. It's one of those high-pitched instruments, and it's in like almost every song. Like this one.
I love you, you love me.
And this one.
And the green grass grows all around. And the green grass grows all around, all around.
And this one. It's in a bunch of different songs, but it's very specific to Bob Singleton, and I love that it's very prominently used in the Barney and Friends intro. When I hear this, oh, it just fills my heart with and it really shows something, that they can carry the exact same song with no edits at all across what, 3 or 4 years, 1992 to the 1995, but they used it afterwards too. They can carry the same song over and just change the intro up, and it makes so much of a difference. Like, you don't have to redo the song, just redo the visuals, and then everything remains just clean and fluid. It's very nice. But even better from season 2, the rhythm and beats to the song are matching the visuals even stronger than before. This intro feels a lot more solid and excited than the season 2 one. I think it's based on the clips that they used.
Barney's friends are big and small, they come from lots of places. After school they meet to play and sing with happy faces.
Like, either the kids are dancing or they're just They're more hyped up and excited than they were in the season 2 clips that were used.
Barney shows us lots of things like how to play pretend, ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and how to be a friend.
And overall, it just flows better and smoother than season 2. And like I was saying earlier, it's a natural evolution. You don't have to remake the entire song. You don't have to touch the song at all. As long as you build off of what you had before, the intro will make you more hyped up to watch the episode. I don't know. Hyped seems very like strange to say for Barney, but you know what I mean.
Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him.
And just how well they timed everything and matched everything to the song itself is beautiful. Season 4 through 6 changes things a bit. Bob Singleton is no longer the musical director for Barney and Friends. It's instead Joe Phillips. So the entire intro gets redone, both song but also the visuals as well. Barney and Friends Season 4 starts the beginning of Lyric Studios taking over as the main name for Barney, or rather the main company name for Barney. And again, the intro is just entirely overhauled. I never liked this as a kid. I was so just... Now, change is always welcome, but as a kid, it's absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wanted things to remain the same. I never had too big of an issue with the song itself. The song arrangement is fine. I didn't really care for it too much as a kid, but as an adult, I'm a lot fine, or a lot more fine. I'm a lot more content with it than I was as a kid.
Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he saw, he's what we call a dinosaur sensation.
What I did not like were the visuals. I don't like the idea of us being a kid watching Barney. I'd rather be... As a kid, I wanted to feel immersed. I wanted to feel like I was in their world. I wanted to feel as though I'm hanging out with the kids and Barney. But when season 4 hit and that was the intro, it was a kid's little feet and he's watching a TV and the TV is like moving and then he's watching Barney and Friends. It's like, I don't want to see that. Like that feels fake. I want to feel like my imagination is working and I'm there with Barney and everyone, not this child watching a TV show that isn't real. And it's not just with Barney. I felt that way with commercials too. Like when you see a video game commercial, and on the commercial, it was people playing a video game. That was the game they were advertising, as opposed to like characters being in their world and then they're interacting with the characters. Like that is always a lot more interesting to me than watching someone do something that I'm supposed to be doing. Like that's like, who cares? Part of the same formula from the past intros is carried over. Barney comes to life and then they show clips from the season. One thing that they changed, however, is they got rid of that tire swing shot at the end.
Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him.
Season 4's set removed the tire swing entirely, and they could have easily just found another way of doing this and having the doll there, but they don't. The moment they say Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him, Barney like isn't there. Like they fade off with some weird transition and we go back to the TV. I hated this. It not only just removed that entire sort of sentimental nature of that tire swing shot and why it was there to begin with, but it ends the song too early. When they would say if you just make believe him and Barney would be there as a doll, that was there to be reinforcing and getting you to really think about the lyrics.
Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him. Barney comes to play with us whenever we may need him. Barney can be your friend too if you just make believe him.
That's the reason that lyric and that clip was there, to really get you to pay attention to the song. But then when they remove that shot entirely, again, it ends the intro too quick because we already start transitioning off to the episode title. So it's like, why would I want to hear the rest of the song? I don't know. I'm thinking too hard into that, but that's why I didn't like that. It really just started a downcline. Is that a word? It really just started a decrease in interest for me when it came to wanting to watch whatever came after that intro, just because I didn't care anymore. Now, of course, I saw season 4 all the way through as an adult and I thought it was great. But like as a kid, I didn't want to watch it after that because it was so much, it was different what I was used to, but also it didn't feel right. Seasons 4, 5, and 6 would change up the clips and keep the same song, just as seasons 1, 2, and 3 did. I don't really feel the need to go through all of them. I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing. They take out that ending shot, they keep the same general formula, and they match the rhythm well enough.
Barney shows us lots of things like how to play pretend, ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and how to
It's not as great as it was in the first 3 seasons, mainly because with the Singleton arrangement, it's a lot more bombastic. The beats hit harder, and I think it's because there's not as much going on in that theme compared to what they did with the Joe Phillips arrangement. Overall, just the season 4 through 6 intros are fine, but they're not really for me, I guess. Season 7 through everything else is when I tuned out entirely. They're very snappy. The clips, again, they flow well enough with the visuals, but I don't think the song itself matches up for that. They added too many sound effects to the intro itself, and it's very distracting. Like they added like train sounds and then kids laughing, and it's just like, I don't want to hear that when I'm supposed to be listening to the song.
Barney's friends are big and small. They come from lots of places. After school they meet to play and sing with happy faces.
The instrumentation is also just a bit too much for me personally. I'm not really into it, but I mean, that's the story for another day. Also, I think just the fact that I had a sort of stigma about season 7 onward affected how I enjoyed the intro too. Like anytime I would be at the daycare that I grew up with when I was a kid and Barney would come on and I would hear, I would just be like, oh, okay, I don't, all right. I'd turn it off. Also, can I also just say, I didn't mention the animatic from seasons 4 through 6. It's the same animatic roughly. They just they took frames out of it for some reason. Like it's not as fluid. They took a certain set of frames out of the animation of them running, and it just looked very disjointed and stilted. It was a lot bouncier in the season 3 intro, but when season 4 hit, they took more out of the animation, and then they kept that for season 7. But in season 7, they removed even more of that animation. Like there was 2 movements and Barney running in that first like season 3 intro. It was him running, and then there was another movement where his arms were outward. When season 7 hit, it's just him putting his arm up, putting it down, and then they repeat that over and over again. So it's very disjointed. When you look at that season 7 intro, it's very bad. And as an animator myself, it makes me very upset because they could have made it so much better looking. And it's that one shot of him running with the rainbow effect behind him, and it's the center of the screen, so you're going to be looking at it the entire time, and it holds on it for a long time. I just don't really understand it because I think the kids themselves have a second set of animation. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it just looks like they do, but I do like that the rainbow comes over and it forms the logo. That's very nice. That's very beautiful to me. But again, I just have a weird stigma about season 7 through 13, and that affected how I enjoyed the intro itself too. So that's not really fair. At the same time, this is my video, so my opinion is the ultimate opinion, and it's very fair to me. Too many sound effects.
Barney can be your friend too if you just let me.
End of the intro where Barney appears as a doll is no longer there again, just like how season 4 started it. They did add it in at some point where he shows up and then he comes to life at the end of the intro. It's nice that they added it back, but it doesn't match the rhythm of the song at all. It just sort of happens.
If you just make believe.
Whoa!
Barney!
Oh, hello, everybody.
And also, it was part of an excuse for them to have him come to life in the intro and then not even show it in the episode itself. He would come to life at the end of the intro, and then when the episode would start, it would show the episode title and Barney would already be there. It's like, well, what is the point then? Because he already comes to life in the beginning of the intro, so why are we being shown that again at the end? You might as well just show it in the episode. But I don't know, they're trying to save time or something. Man. Now, this video has been going on for too long. We're gonna just end it with the season, was it 14 intro, where they tried to rap, and it's easily the worst intro that the Barney franchise has ever put out.
Barney is a dinosaur.
Look at how Barney starts dancing, and they immediately cut to a clip of him just doing this. Like, what was that? Like, I'm gonna start every video with me doing that from now on. Like right before my intro starts, it's very strange. I mean, shout out to the kids in the intro that were trying to do that dance. It was clearly choreographed. It's just, this is what happens when a company has too much hold in a show and all creativity gets thrown out of the window.
And when he's tall, he's buff, we call a dinosaur sensation. Barney and friends are here for you to
If Cheryl Leach was still part of this project, this would have never happened. They took out like half of the song and replaced it with new lyrics, and they have BJ, Baby Bop, and Riff like trying to break dance, and it's just so out of place and strange. So much of the intro, it seems, is filmed on a green screen. The ending shot of Barney as a doll isn't there. Is that even really a surprise? The really terrible rap song ends with the logo showing up, and it's a nice... I mean, they redid the logo a little bit and like rearranged stuff. It's nice enough. Oh gosh, the show was over, so they said, you know what, why don't we ruin it as much as we can? Again, no disrespect to anyone that worked on the show. I'm just giving my opinions on how I saw things and how I believe that, just what my opinions are. I love Barney with all of my heart. All I'm saying is that things went down a little bit, and that's why I'm talking about it. That's why I'm saying how important it is to not only match your music to your visuals, but also to have an idea. When season 14 hit and they did this rap song with the theme song, it's clear that there was no idea at all on what this show was or what they were trying to do. As I was saying, like 30 minutes ago, the original Barney and Friends intro told a story. Barney comes to life. We're shown what is in store for the episode. Barney is reimagined as a doll because we were imagining him the entire time. He winks at us, showing that he was there the entire time. After that, it got entirely scrapped, and then they kept the same idea, but then once season 7 forward hit, that idea was gone. When the TV show opening is literally, like I said, the opening, it's the beginning of your show. It's meant to draw interest to what's going on. It's supposed to get you excited. It's supposed to get you wanting to see what's going to happen in the next 30 minutes. But when that general idea is gone, what's the point? The original Barney and Friends intro lives so deeply in my heart just because I remember it from when I was a kid. I remembered how excited I'd get hearing it and seeing it play out, and it made me very happy. I hope you all enjoyed this sort of analysis on a TV show song. I've been wanting to do a video kind of like this for a while, but never really knew how to go about it. If you want to see my reviews to the full seasons of Barney and Friends, I've done seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the time of this recording, but I've also done the Barney movie that came out in 1997 or 98. I always forget which one it is. But there's a playlist on the channel called Hedge Spotlight. You can watch all of them all together. There's also little short compilations. Short, they're like an hour long. There's also little compilations that I've made of all of them together. So if you want to check that out, they're also in a playlist on the channel called Stage Select. Again, thank you guys for staying with me for this video that's too long. And I hope I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you for boarding my rainbow line. I'll see you at the next stop. See you.
Caitlin, Andrew, Mia T. Toon, Gwen, Jackson, Emilia, Velveteen, Alicia, Cameron, Caroline, Ian, Junior the Hedgehog, Common J, Megley, Nerdy Disney, Sawyer.